Right, hello everyone, and welcome to part 6 of Escape the Maze. Trust you're all well out there, like we said in the last videos. Hope that trust that your life's okay and you're doing well. Like we said in the other ones, there's a lot going on at the minute, a lot coming up to head it now, so you can start seeing a few things are revealing themselves a little bit more than what they usually are. They're now all coming up, so you can see it a little bit more. It can get a little bit confusing, especially around this time of year. With Christmas coming up and getting pumped into us, it can be a little bit stressful. So take your time on it and try and, like we say, we're going to get into this today, but try and switch sometimes the negative to the positive, and that is hard to do, but you know, we're on this journey and that's not all positive what we find out. It does go a little bit negative on you, so it's just about holding that and being able to have the perspective of turning a negative into a positive in your heads, you know, or how you feel about stuff. It's just zooming out and just looking at it differently and not letting that get a hold of you, that negativity. On the last videos, we done a little bit on the gates, going through the gates to remember who you were or who you are, and finding out certain stuff on the levels and being able to bridge. We're just going to do a little bit of a continuation on that today, because we need to just go into it and just reinforce what I was saying the last time. So welcome to Escape the Maze. Trust that, like we said, trust that you're doing well out there, and always remember that you're worth it and keep going, okay? So, but I'm going to straight away try and get on the board now and just write a few more parts down. It's been a little time since I've done a video, so I just want to go lap over to the last ones and get this one going. So let's see what we can come up with. But we're just going to go back into that box what I was explaining last time. So let's see what we can come up with here. Let's just write that off. Right, so we're just gonna draw this box again. Gonna make it a little bit shorter here, so let's just do that. Pen still on the squeak. Right, so we'll put them little gates there and this here. Like I say, if you're coming straight into this, just check out the videos before this, and then this will start making a lot more sense to you. If you jump into this now, we're a little bit along the journey now with going back to the story, but so you'll be able to catch up on the last videos. We're just going to have this in here now. Right. With this, the box, what we're all in, one of the fundamentals of that box is the language within that box, the language what we've been taught to speak from school, or from very early age, from our parents or people around us, and then we go to school and then we're taught a language what helps us, or in a way helps us into the system, and this is what they want us to be into the system, so that helps them formulate what we're going to be and our adventure into their box. I don't know whether I'm putting that right, but you know, stay with me on it. Language, if we look at it, is a desensitization tool, massive desensitization tool. Right, so it desensitizes us. Desensitization, right? Desensitization, it desensitizes us. There's forms of words, and we'll get into this as well. I keep saying this, but we will do. There's forms of words, sentences out of them words, letters, and all of this. And this is all code, but it all desensitizes us from who and what we really are. I'll give you an example of the desensitization. It allows manipulation to come in as well, because you can interchange words to mean certain different things. You know, you can use the word war when really it means genocide and stuff like this. So it's two parties going to war with each other, but it's not really. It's one army with a navy, with an air force and everything else, and you've got certain people over here with nothing, but they're at war. The definition of war really means is two equal sides going together, having a battle with each other, and the side with the best strategic value on that war, or the weaponry, will beat the other side in that war. But if you've got no air force, or you've got no real troops or ships or any of this type of stuff, then really what you're doing is this side here with everything is annihilating this side over here. So that's called genocide, really. But they use the word war as an acceptance, so we accept that. So it's just that I'm just gonna just throw that in there, just as languages used. Like I say, it's really about codes in that language, and this is where there's different levels of the code what go on within the language what we don't know. We're on the veneer level of speaking to each other in a certain way, and we think that is what it means, but it doesn't behind that really. So this is what we have to find out a huge amount about language, and this is why everything's been described to us from birth, because as a desensitizing tool, if language, if I'm taught from a very early age what a tree is, you know, at school, you know, we have a tree, it has leaves, it has a trunk, it has branches, roots, bark. The best one, what we all know, is photosynthesis, so where it feeds and through the sunlight, and so everything has been described to us about the word tree, right? That has all been described. That is the word. So if we don't exactly know what that is, and it's been described to us, then it becomes an object in our minds, in our heads. It becomes just an object. We don't really know, because we haven't been taught the full story. We've been described what it is, and we believe that description, so it's just a tree, right? So this is just me, you can use anything on this really. But if we were taught the full story of what this was, what they've labelled, described as a tree, and we were taught that, say, I don't know, that was a sentient being, in its own kingdom, and that had its own environmental community around it, what it looked after, like everything communicated with the tree, and the tree communicated with everything else as a sentient being. And well, that was pretty much taught to us from a very, very early age when we got here, that was really a relative. And to hurt that would be to hurt us. If someone come up to us right now and give us an axe and said, just go cut that tree down, with the way that the word happens in the desensitization tool of that, you will take the axe and just cut that tree down. Because it's just the word. Because it's an object. Because the desensitization has taken the living out of that and turned that into a product for us to use. So, but if we knew it was a sentient being and someone gave us an axe and that was like cutting one of your relatives down, you'd have an issue with that. You'd have a problem with hurting that, because you knew you'd been taught that would be hurting you. So this is where words and descriptions come in to desensitize us, and so everything's just been changed into an object. So that's just a little side note, but that's just what I wanted to get in about how words work. We have to find out what words are, what language is, what spells we're under from learning to spell at school. So we'll get back to the box now. So we're in the box, and this is what I really want to get round to today on this video, is that when we're in the box, and we've talked on the last video about the gates and going through the gates, and the masses are in here, the world's in here, and everything what's been described to us is in here. What happens along our journey? Let me just put another side box here. Right, no squeaking, unbelievable. Right, let's see where we do it again. Right, let's just do this here, do this here. Right, and this is to remember, right? So, what will happen here, where the character's formed in here, the character, or the ego, is formed in this, out of all the desensitization, the program and indoctrination into us. The ego is formed here. So what will happen is there's going to be a split go off when you go on this journey, because what will happen is that the ego will start to fade as you go on this journey, or it should do. For many people it gets bigger because they use this as gatekeepers to try and keep you trapped in the, and you can easily suss that out when you get on the journey, who's still in ego and who isn't. But that should, along your journey, start to fade. Start that voice, what is control, or that ego, what is controlling the car. All your life has been controlling the car. You've now put it in the passenger seat, and now the spiritual being that you are, or the sentient being that you are, is now in control. Is now in control of the vessel. So with that fading, that will fade this ego as you go through the gates. Now, a lot of people will get stuck in these gates. They'll get stuck in there because they're still full of ego. So as you find out what this is really negative, finding this stuff out. Negative. It's very negative finding that out. Of course it is. And as you go through the gates, you'll find out more and more and more. But there has to be a point where you connect to what people would term their higher self. So I don't like using that sort of. You become just a consciousness that knows that there's the connection around you to all of nature, to everything that's living. There's a connection to you and it. You start feeling a lot more because you're starting to come out of desensitization, and you're starting to feel. And that can be really, really profound and really hurtful along the stage. But if you're still in ego on your journey, what will happen is that will start to hurt you, because the wrestling will come into it. And as you go through the gates, if you still are on YouTube and you're still just looking at videos going round and round and round, and still finding out all this stuff, what you already know now, you've already done it, that will have a negative impact on you, right? That will have a negative impact, because everything you're finding out will soak into you, and it's all negative. So along the journey, you've got to connect to your sentient being. This has got to fade, the ego is starting to fade, and your connection to who and what you are starts to grow. Because if not, you're just going to stay in the entertainment value of the videos that you're watching. And that will just, entertainment means enter the tainted mind. You're staying in the mind. So you're not feeling, you're thinking. And that has a big effect. So when you learn more about your sentient being coming online, that starts driving this vessel a bit more, you don't get caught up. This starts going a little bit positive. Because you know there's outs, you know there's remedies to this stuff. If you're still caught in finding out all the time, you're not going through the gates to connection to full remembrance. You're getting caught. A gatekeeper has got you somewhere along the line. Now, everything about this journey should be, to remedy, should be a way out of this. That should be. I've done the remedy, I've got out of it, I've come back in. So I know how to get out of it. I know how to come back in here, and it takes a lot of energy. But you should, if you're here and everything is negative to you on this journey of coming through these gates, then you are caught somewhere by a gatekeeper. Now you've got to change. Now, all of this stuff, finding out, is all exciting, and it's all, oh, there's a eureka moments left, right and centre. But when we really get into it, what the system does to us is really makes us dependent on that system. So there should be a switch over along the way to find out about who you are, start finding out about your diet, start finding out about everything around you, the connection to everything. A spirituality should be coming online, or just going back to spirit should be going. You should be traveling or journeying through these gates. Like we say, if you are stuck, if there is something you are very, very negative all the time, that's having a negative impact on your life, which it will do when you're finding out. But there has to be a change up along the way for you to continue. Because if not, you're just going to sit there and think to yourself, what's the point? And that's a really good question to ask. What's the point? Well, there is a point. There's a way out. And we're going to get to that in this series of videos. But there is a way out of this. And that takes a lot of work to get there, because this part is difficult. This part is really, really tough to do. Really tough. But when you actually start doing something about it, that makes this part seem very easy, because now you're actually doing something about it. You're away from your laptops, your phones, your computers. You're away. You're actually now doing it. So this is what this video is all about, and we're going to just do this theme a little bit more, because it's really, really important about the negative aspect this can have on your lives. Because finding out about it is not all cream and unicorn and rainbows. It isn't. It's everything except that. It's so different. It's so nasty and horrible what you find out. But there has to be a point where you jump from negative to positive. And that negative to positive has to be the connection to you. To realising what is going on around you, and knowing that you are on your journey to do something about it. I'm not talking about protesting with placards and asking for your slave masters to give you food. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the real protests come from how you actually live your life and what you give your energy to, which is really, really difficult. It means a lot of trust has to come together, and a lot of planning has to be done out of it, and finding out how you actually look after yourself. So I just wanted to put that quickly on a video, because I've been feeling like this a lot. I've seen a lot of negativity with people. I've seen them get dragged down into this, and that's happened to me. It's happened to all of us around here what are on this journey. But we have to flip the switch. We're privileged when we go into this to actually recognise what's going on. So that privilege, what we have to take of remembering who we are through a hell of a lot of hard work, what we've put in, there has to be fruits out of that. So allow yourself the fruits out of that, and start looking at something positively, where I'm talking about much further down the line, land, communities, and all of this good stuff. Because if not, you're just going to get caught in the box of negativity, and that's no good for no one. So I just wanted to say that as a quick video. So I'm going to just carry on with these videos a little bit more, explain down the sides about this a bit more in the other videos, but I just want to get this out to you. So try and flip the switch. I know it's difficult, especially for the ones that are on this journey, but just try and flip the switch from negative to positive. Just climb that tree and look over the canopy sometimes, and just know that you're on your journey, and this is a spiritual battle, and you're involved now, and that isn't easy, because no one else can see the spiritual battle that you're going through. But we'll get there together. We really, really will. So escape the maze. Just a quick one, just to get something out to there. So much love from Escape the Maze. Much love from me, and you take it easy out there. See you in a bit.